Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving into the life's work of a truly incredible teacher, Paramjit Kaur. Through her memoir, we're going to uncover some of the really profound lessons she learned from a lifetime spent shaping young minds.
And this quote, wow, it just says it all, doesn't it? For Paramjit, teaching wasn't just another job. It was the very foundation of our entire society. The production house, as she calls it, where every single doctor, engineer, and artist gets their start. 37. Just let that sink in for a moment. 37 years. That's how long Paramjit Kaur dedicated to this production house. An absolutely amazing career built on the patient, day-by-day work of shaping young minds.
So, every journey has to start somewhere, right? And hers kicked off with a really simple but powerful gesture. Let's go all the way back to her first few days in the classroom, which she captures in a chapter she calls The First Hug.
Okay, so try to picture it. Her very first day, in front of a class of first graders. A room just full of these innocent, surprised little faces staring up at her. To them, she's a total stranger. So what do? Well, instead of jumping right into lessons, her first move was to just start telling stories. She wanted to build a little bridge of comfort and trust first. And get this, the speed at which this worked is just incredible. On the morning of day one, she's a stranger. By the very next morning, kids are running up to hug her. That single hug, that was everything. It was the very first sign that she was earning their trust and their love.
Now, this kind of dedication, it wasn't something that just stayed inside the classroom walls. Oh no. Pretty soon, her professional life started to blend with her personal world, and that ended up changing her entire approach to teaching.
You see, when she became a mother herself, her two worlds just completely merged. It was like a light bulb went off. She realized that raising her own kids gave her this deep insight into what it feels like to be a parent. And that new perspective, it let her connect emotionally with both her students and their families on a whole other level.
And her commitment went way, way beyond the textbooks. She poured all of her creativity into the school, spending hours on art projects, writing plays from scratch, even designing all the costumes for the big annual day. For her, this wasn't just extra work. It was totally essential for building a real community, one that was filled with joy and pride. But underneath all the colorful projects and the big community events, there was something even more important, and that was the real heart of her teaching philosophy.
She basically built her entire approach to teaching around this one single critical question. It just wasn't enough for her to teach a subject. She felt like she had to understand the person, the child sitting in front of her.
And her answer is so beautifully simple, but at the same time, so profound. She believed that understanding a child's background, their home life, their struggles, was the only way to truly guide them, not just lecture at them.
So what did that mean in practice? Well, for her, emotional encouragement wasn't some optional extra. No way. It was part of the daily routine. She absolutely believed that you couldn't just ignore the students who were struggling. In fact, she felt they were the ones who needed a teacher's patience and support more than anyone.
So decades of this kind of unwavering dedication, it all led to one of the most emotional days of her entire life, the day she retired.
And the scene she describes is just so incredibly moving. After 37 years of service, the whole school community, we're talking colleagues, students, and parents, they all came together to honor her. And the fact that so many of them had tears in their eyes as they said goodbye, well, that tells you everything you need to know about the impact she had.
And you can really feel the weight of that moment in her own words. The school wasn't just some building or a workplace. It was where she had spent most of her life, growing and learning right alongside her students.
But, even with all that sadness, she found this real sense of grace in it. She saw this ending not just as her leaving, but as a necessary change that would make room for, as she put it, new flowers to bloom in her place.
So after a lifetime of service, when it's all said and done, what did she believe was the true, lasting legacy of a teacher? What's the thing that really remains?
This idea is so powerful. She walked into that school as a teacher, sure, but after 37 years, she walked out as a lifelong learner, forever changed by the very kids she was there to guide.
And that brings us to our final, ultimate definition of a teacher's legacy. And spoiler alert, it has absolutely nothing to do with grades or test scores. For her, true success is measured in something far more human: the trust, the love, and the memories that you leave behind in your students' hearts.
And she leaves us with this final piece of advice, a guiding principle that you can just tell she lived by every single day. It's a simple but really challenging call to always act with courage and do the right thing. So we'll end with a question that her whole journey brings up, a question for anyone who's ever been a teacher, a mentor, or even a parent. It asks us to think about that moment we realize that to guide others is also, in a way, to grow ourselves. It's a really powerful thought to leave with.